Hello, all, and welcome to another week of Showtime with Jordan von Haslow and friends. If you're watching at home, you might say, where in the hell is Jordan? Guess what? Jordan is in the back of his lift, late. But we have a really wonderful guest. One of my really good friends is here in the studio, and she actually showed up on time, which I really appreciate. The fantastic Barbara Brighton. Hello, Barbara. How are you, my love?
I'm counting the minutes. Where are you, Jordan?
I'm somewhere like just north of the studio. It's really horrific.
Okay.
I'm so sorry that you're just sitting there alone.
Are you on the 405 freeway?
No. I'm on the street now. I'm still learning my way around this crazy town. But I'm on the streets now. But nevertheless, we're here and we're talking to each other. And I'm so glad you're here to join me today. And I'm going to be there very, very soon. You know, I think I told you.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. If I had more time, I'd have brought wine, so at least as like a peace offering.
Oh, that would be good. No, that's okay. I'm fine. No, I was in L.A. last week, and we were on the freeway for the entire week, and we never got off the freeway. So I'm thinking Jordan must be on the 405 or the 101 or the 134 because he's not here.
That makes me think of, did you ever used to watch the Saturday Night Live when they do that skit, the Californians, and whenever they talk about anything, it's like, yeah, well, you take the 10 to the 405 to the 101 and exit at La Cienega. It's very much that same thing. I mean, the highways here, though, are kind of are pretty easy, but I feel like this town is kind of like a big circle.
But if people don't live in L.A., they don't understand what you're talking about when you talk about all those numbers. If you live there, then you understand it because you're there 24/7. Doesn't matter.
Totally.
No, this is
easy.
What were you doing? What, honey?
No, keep going, dog.
No, well, here, which I don't do at all, there's the 15, the 93, the 95. I don't touch the freeways because I don't like them. I can drive anywhere else but in Las Vegas, so I take the surface streets unless I go with someone that does drive the freeways because I think they're very dangerous, if you really want to know. That's my feeling.
Well, see, my thing, now, I haven't, properly driven in probably 20 years, but I kind of feel like the streets, I remember when I used to drive regularly, the streets were scariest to me. I mean, because you have, the bikers and the pedestrians and dogs and homeless people who can all jump out at any moment.
But are you talking about Las Vegas?
I'm talking about anywhere.
Oh,
I'm just talking about driving in general.
I'm just very thankful that there are other routes here that one can pursue to get where they have to go, because I would be up a creek. I would be up a creek. When I first moved here, they said if you want to go to Aliante, you have to take the blah, 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 blah. I said, I won't be visiting you in Aliante because unless there's a surface street, I'm not going to be there. So I rely on my friends to take me.
No, that makes sense. Well, so now tell me, I don't know if we ever had the conversation. When did you actually come to Las Vegas? I know you were here quite a while ago playing Caesar's Palace, but when did you come to Las Vegas this time?
Well, this last time I moved here, what month is this? This is, so it's 5.5 years.
February. We're almost March. We're almost in March.
5.5 years that I'm living here. But when I first performed here, it was 1972. It was the very first time that I was in Las Vegas, and it was the most exciting time of my life. I was at Caesars with Harry Belafonte, doing 5 shows a night and loving every minute of it, because that was showbiz. That was them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my own Harry Belafonte story.
Okay.
So one year, I was with my friend, and I remember distinctly it was Halloween, and this is in New York. We went to see, do you know Annie Ross? Remember Annie Ross, Lambert Henderson Ross?
Sure, of course. Yes, I do.
So
I should get out of my head. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Annie Ross used to play this club on a weekly basis called Danny's Skylight Room, Danny's Skylight Lounge, Danny's Skylight Room. And so my friend and I decided to come and see her. And so we're sitting here. It's on Halloween. I remember we're sitting here, and the waiter comes over to take our drink orders, and he whispers, he goes, Harry Belafonte and Robert Altman are going to be sitting right behind you. And we're like, what? He's like, Harry Belafonte and Robert Altman are going to be sitting right behind you. And we're like, okay, whatever. And so, we're going about our thing. We start knocking them back. We're waiting for the show to start. And all of a sudden, I hear that gravelly voice. And we said, holy moly, Harry Belafonte is behind us. So that was part one of the story.
Oh, okay.
So cut to after the show, right? Cut to after the show. Deanne, my friend, was going to a Halloween party afterwards. So we're sitting in the front in the piano bar, and she goes and changes. Her costume that year is a brick house. Kind of like she's built like a brick house. So literally, like the dress itself was like shaped like a house, and she had a little top hat to be her chimney. And where her boobs were, there were like two little windows, and down by her lower area was a door. And if you opened up the door, there was a little kitty cat sitting there.
Oh, come on.
So she shows me this. I think it's hilarious. And so we're talking, and Danny's, it was really, really narrow. It's in a townhouse. And all of a sudden, Robert Altman, Harry Belafonte, and Annie Ross come out. And so we're like, oh, we love your show. And then Annie goes, oh, my goodness, your costume's amazing. And Deanne goes, I know. And she quickly opens and closes the door. So our story is always, remember that Halloween you showed Harry Belafonte your pussy?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Jeez, I wonder what his wife Julie would have said. Well, he was a dear man, a really dear man. And when I worked with him, Jordan, I went to see his show every single night. I didn't miss it. After my show and in between my show. Because I was like, I don't know, mesmerized by the main showroom. Because at the time I was at the Cleopatra's Barge doing my 5 shows. And in between changing my costumes, which I did, every single set, I changed. It was hot pants and boots at that time, which was great. It was sequin. It was very exciting because I had them custom made for me. So I would change for the next show and go and see his show, which I just fell in love with. It was a great show with Letta and Bulow and Ella. I can't remember, and they all came down to see me, sort of in between. It was very, very, very exciting time.
How did that come about? You playing Cleopatra's at Speakers?
Well, actually, that's a wonderful story too. Because I come from Florida, and my father was managing a men's store called Barron's in Bal Harbor, which was very upscale, and sold clothes to all these famous people or whatever. And the owners of Caesars came in and bought clothes for my dad. And unbeknownst to me, because I was on the road in Curacao or Aruba or something, because I was young and there was a lot of work then. So he had played a tape I made in Australia. I recorded This Is My Life, and a tape. In those days, it was tape, not even CD. And I didn't even know. And he played it for Mel Chasen, and they bought me. And next thing I know, they tried to find me for a year. Believe it or not, a year. And they finally...
I have a heart. They couldn't find you for a year.
No.
You're one of the most out there and
No.
It's not like I can't picture you being underneath a rock.
Well, I was on the road, and at the time I was living with my parents in Hallandale, Florida, and I remember, I don't remember the details, but they did invite me, and I was like, what? Vegas, Las Vegas, me? I mean, I went crazy. So I hired an agent. Which I did, because it was one of my dreams to play Las Vegas. At that time, I guess it is for everybody. It was a fascinating time. And you just wanted to be here and be an entertainer. It's where you should be if you're an entertainer. So that's how I got to Caesar's Palace. Because of my dad. God bless my dad.
How long did you run there?
It was 3 weeks. 3 weeks nonstop. And that was on the barge. At that time, it was moving. It was great, and I had a wonderful trio, Jack Holliday and the trio, and I followed Bill Acosta, who also worked there, and Mandy Campo. I was with Poopy Campo, Poopy Campo, who was from Florida, was there also, because he was a name from Florida, and his brother was the pit boss, Mandy Campo. And everybody was from Florida. It was very strange. That's where I came from, and that's where the owners were, Mel Chasen and Cliff Perlman, and they owned Lums, Lum''S, and they sold Lums and bought Caesar's Palace. And it became, that's what happened. Yes, they had it was now if they were to see Caesar's now, I don't know how they'd feel about it. First of all, when I go in there, I get lost because I can't even find where I'm going. They have so many add-ons. Hello, handsome. Hello, darling. Look at this, Jordan. He's walking in.
Here.
Oh, he's there, and I'm in the middle of my wonderful story.
Lyft driver.
Oh.
Shall I move in over here?
Jordan has arrived, everybody.
Jordan has arrived.
I was talking to a phone. Handsome
Jordan has arrived.
Look at you.
Indeed.
Hello,
Indeed.
handsome.
Oh my goodness. Have you ever had one of those days?
Of course, I've had years like that.
Oh my goodness.
Years like that, sweetheart.
But listen, back to talking about the Caesars, because I'm brand new to this town, right? I just got here 2.5 months ago. You know what? Oh my goodness, I'm realizing. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Yeah.
So good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that I'm slowly getting to this point where I'm not going to be able to consider myself the new kid on the block anymore, and I'm not going to be able to play that card.
That's
so I
right.
need to milk it for as long as I can. I need to but so tell me, in terms of when you first came to Vegas back in the
72.
good days in your hot pants and
Yes.
your versus now coming back the second time.
Yes.
But
But I was in between many times.
Oh no, totally. But I just want
Yeah.
to know, back then. I mean, you talk about it so wonderful, and I talked to a lot of people who were here back then, and the heyday compared to now. Talk to me.
Well, there's no comparison at all. In those days, we went from show to show. And I remember going to see Debbie Reynolds when she was appearing at one of the big places after my show, or going over to the Flamingo where you couldn't even cross the street because the traffic was so heavy. Now there's no entrance to the Flamingo. It's like on another street. Yeah, and it was just totally different because it wasn't corporate.
Yeah.
It was owned by the boys, and they are wonderful. They loved entertainers, and we all went down to the coffee shop, and it was an incredible time. I loved it. I really loved it, and I miss it. Then I was asked to do the Desert Inn, which is now the Wynn and the Encore, in 86. So I jumped from 72 to 86. I was traveling in between. What did I know? And that's when they invited me, other people invited me to work the Desert Inn. And then after I did that with Anthony Newley and Ann Jillian.
Ann Jillian. That's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Yeah. She's in L.A. because a friend of mine said she's going to be at a luncheon. I said, oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to see that.
She doesn't
because
perform
she had
really.
breast cancer, and I don't know what happened to her.
No, I think because I remember and it was a huge thing, and then she played herself in the Ann Jillian story.
Yeah.
Nice
lady.
And then I think she kind of transitioned out of acting and moved into more motivational speaking. I think she went onto the speaker circuit.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. I always liked her.
Yeah.
And I was a kid when all of that
sweet.
was going on, but I used to love
Well, she was a star of Sugar. And that's when I first met her, and then she became a headliner, after that show.
Yeah.
Which I also did. It was called Some Like It Hot.
But
it became Sugar. I did the lead in that on the road, and I told that to Ann. I said, I was in the other Sugar.
So what do you like doing best? Because you're kind of like me in the sense that you have a nightclub act, you've done a lot of theater, you've done television. If there was what you've hosted, right?
My passion?
Yeah.
Talk show.
Talk show?
Yeah,
that's it?
Absolutely.
That's it?
Yeah.
Radio?
Television.
TV?
No television. No, not to put down radio, because I love radio. I'm on radio. But I've always loved television. And because I used to be on a soap opera called General Hospital for 3 years.
Yay.
And then I did a talk show in Los Angeles called the Barbara Brighton Show, where I actually got a chance to do the Emmys, which was phenomenal to do stuff like that. And
so how did that even happen? I was watching some clips of that, and it's oh my goodness, you were the West Coast Nikki Haskell.
Yeah. But I didn't even know, before, this is prior to being a Joan Rivers tribute. I didn't have any idea. I was just asked by a guy filming, can I film? I said, can I put the footage on my show? He said, yes. So he got me on it. And I walked around on the, paparazzi do, on the red carpet. I wasn't doing red carpet. I didn't even know what a red carpet was at that time. I was just doing me, and I didn't even know half the stars because I had to ask the paparazzi, who are they? They said, well, it's Beverly Hills 90210. I said, I don't watch that show. Who is that? Shannon Doherty and Jason Priestley. No, I'm serious. I didn't know half of the stars, but I did interview Burt Reynolds, and I loved him to pieces because he got his Emmy Award that year.
Oh yeah,
was
that Evening Shade? Was that the year he was that when he was doing Evening Shade, or that was Evening Shade he was on, right?
Are you gonna pin me down? He had a theater in Jupiter too, though. But at that time, he was married to Lonnie Anderson, and he had a girlfriend, and he was going to see her after the Emmys, and Lonnie looked magnificent.
Did this come out in the interview?
No.
I'm like, wow, move over, Barbara Walters.
No. I found that later. I said, God, he was seeing a woman, a waitress, after the same time he was married to Lonnie, and there he was on my show with Lonnie, and I went, I didn't know that. And it's good I didn't know that. No, I wouldn't have said that. Are you kidding me? No. But, strangely enough, if I could just interject, Barbara Walters did have a clip of me on her show.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. With Jason Priestley and Shannon Doherty. And I was like, God, I'm on Barbara Walters.
That's exciting.
Yeah, they took a clip of my show. I was elated.
Yay.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Thrilling. Oh, I miss Barbara.
I do, too.
I miss Barbara a lot. I don't feel like there's I shouldn't say that, but I just feel like where television is now, like as far as like there's no like Barbara Walters. Oprah doesn't really interview the way that she did. Like there's no one who's like taken that mantle of like.
That's the reason I wanted to do a talk show, because of Oprah and Sally Jesse and Phil and all of them. When I watched it in LA, I said, I can do that. I can do that. I want to do that. And that's what happened. You get spurned by something that goes into your psyche. And after all the years of singing, I wasn't doing comedy then. I thought, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
And a talk show was what I wanted to do. And that's because of those people. Oprah.
Yeah.
I loved Oprah.
So if you had the opportunity to do a talk show again, what would it just be? Interviews? Would you maybe dabble into like the Oprah and Sally Jesse and saying, today we're talking to? No, I know. I'm saying if you were to do it again now.
Well, I just did Brighten Your Night.
Right.
It's on YouTube, 4 shows. If y'all want to go, Brighten Your Night, NITE, and like it. No, I did. And someone asked me to do it here that knew that I did that, and I grabbed the chance because it was 26 years ago and was on my vision board. It was very strange. I had a wonderful friend, Linda. She says, we're going to do a vision board for you. I said, I don't believe in it. I don't like The Secret. It's not going to happen. Forget it. She says, I'm coming over. We're going to paste up pictures. She came on with a board, and I did it like a magazine, ripped all these fakakta pictures, love, marriage, home, talk show. I did my talk show. And 26 years later, somebody asked me to do the talk show. I said, okay, the vision board works. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's true. So I shot Brighten Your Night. I shot 4 shows.
Totally.
You didn't remember?
No, I do. I watched all of them, and I imagine you want to continue doing it.
I do.
And
I spoke to the producer earlier today.
Yeah.
And I said, give me a ballpark because we want to do this again. He said, yeah, okay. So let me tell the audience, I had Shecky Green. I hope somebody remembers. He's an icon. He's 93 and fabulous. Kelly Clinton, and Clint Holmes, my first. God bless him. I asked him first, Clint, and he didn't disappoint. He came.
That's so nice.
Oh, I loved him. And then Alan and Kathy Glist, who produced the show I'm going to take you to tonight, Bronx Wanderers.
Yeah.
And Menopause.
I met them. Sean, we went to see... What's the show at the Cleopatra? No, the one that's at Cleopatra's Needle now.
Thomas John.
Thomas John, yeah.
Right,
I had a chance to meet them. Meet them at that.
Well, I invited them to be guests because they're old friends. As a matter of fact, Alan was a partner of my father how many years ago?
Oh, really?
In clothes, yeah. And when he was selling clothes, now he's a big time producer, and I'm going, get me a job, Alan.
Right.
Because I said, do it for my dad. Come on, help me out.
Isn't it funny how the world just gets smaller and
Yeah.
smaller and smaller, and then like these people from your past, like all of a sudden you run into them again in a completely different light. I think it's fantastic. But I'm sorry, continue going. Talking about Brighten Your Night.
Yeah, and also I forgot Frankie Shinta's on the show, and John.
He's amazing too.
Wonderful.
I did the Dennis Bono show maybe like a month and a half ago, and he was on the bill. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I had never seen his show. I just seen a Q&A at the Alexis Park opposite the First Ladies of Vegas, and I asked him to be on the show, but I didn't know what he did because no, he was very famous as the Shintas. Everybody in the world knows the Shintas except me. So I just saw him doing a Q&A and didn't know what he did. And then he invited me to see the show at the South Point. I said, oh, this guy is really talented. Not only the spoons, he does a lot of old Vegas type of things. Wonderful, wonderful.
And he can sing and he can play the piano and he's funny. Yes. Like he's amazing.
He's a seasoned performer.
Yeah.
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 Something else I was going to say to you. Oh, yeah. Talk about how the world is smaller.
Yeah.
I got a call the other day on Facebook. Believe it or not, I've met a lot of my old friends on Facebook. A girl that I lived with in New York. She said, Barbara, did you have a dog? Did you live on 71st Street in a garden apartment? I said, yes. She said, I lived with you. I said, oh my. So I went, oh my God.
Did you remember?
No. But, she had a different last name. And I went, oh, Wendy, we must talk because you got all the facts right. And, it's me. She said, I don't know how I found you on Facebook. I said, how exciting.
How fun. Is she working the business as well?
No, she's not. She's not. It's just so strange how people find you.
I know.
Isn't it?
I know. Well, what I like about that is because then, especially if you have something going on right now, it's like, it's so good to see you. Yeah. I'm playing this room on Saturday.
Tell me.
Tickets are,
Oh, you mean?
No, I'm saying, that's why I love running into old people, like right when you have something
You're trying to promote.
Because then it's like they feel obligated to come because it's like, well, we have to reconnect. It would be rude of me not to, right?
But, isn't our lives all about promoting?
Oh, my goodness. I feel like that's all I do.
I know. And I'm in the business, 55 years. Don't start adding up now, everybody. and we always want an audience. And if we don't do it, if you don't have an agent or a manager, you've got to do the marketing yourself.
If you have an agent and a manager, you still have to do the marketing yourself.
You have to do all that. And you're very, very good at that, Jordan.
Well, thank you.
Jordan wrote a great show for us, and I can't wait to do it.
I can't wait to do it either.
Yeah. Because that's some great songs you found.
So, vision board for the show. Like, if there was a room that we could present it in, like, what would be the vision board room?
New York. Oh, absolutely, honey, New York.
Yeah.
Do I have to think?
Oh no, I'm talking about in town because I have a room in New York we can play.
You do?
I do. I have a fabulous room in New York we can play.
So you mean here?
Yeah, here. It would be to present it, to present it to the world.
Because we do Broadway, so it's a Broadway musical. Where would we do it? I'd love to do it at the Hilton, the Westgate. Wouldn't that be nice?
Why not? Then let's do it. Or
the Shimmer Room would be nice. That's that small room where Jennifer Romas.
Do you know I haven't been there? I'm still getting.
It's got to be sexy to go there, man.
I'm still getting. Oh, that's where. And then, is that George Wallace is in that room, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, that's the same room.
The smaller room.
How big is that room? About 200.
Yeah, maybe it's a lovely little room.
What if we did maybe like a night or two there and try it out?
Listen, fine, book it. Well, first we have to rehearse.
We should probably rehearse.
First, Jordan says, I'm going to send you the music. 4 months ago, he said, I'm going to send you the music.
4 months ago.
All right, 3 months ago.
I haven't been in Vegas for 3 months. Okay. I've only known you for 3 weeks.
You finally sent me the song. Okay.
But you have to learn it. It's such a pretty song, right?
Well, you're so creative. And when Jordan came to my house, we discussed, that we'd probably like to do a project together because I thought it'd be good. And
as did I.
And you came up with songs that were beyond my ken, and I loved it.
Yay.
Really, because you're very good about putting a show together. I'll tell you. You're excellent.
Thank you. Yeah. Speaking of putting a show together, I'm doing a show this weekend.
Promoting show.
Promoting show. I'm going to be playing the Taste of Soul and Sounds Festival, which is in its 19th year. This is the 19th year. It happens at Fremont Street Experience. Okay. I'm going to be doing my show celebrating Nat King Cole, which ran for 5 months in New York last year and garnered 3 Broadway World nominations.
You?
Me.
How wonderful.
So I'm going to be there on Friday at 2:30.
Where's that going to be?
At Fremont Street Experience.
So on that stage
On that stage right there in the middle.
Is that where Zoe Bowie
That's where Zoe
works?
Bowie works. Yeah. So I'm excited because I've only like walked through there. I've never like really done anything
Are
there,
you doing with tracks or live music?
No, I'm going to do it with live music.
Good for
I'm
you.
figuring out what the orchestration's going to be. I haven't decided if I'm just going to do like a piano or if
It's
I'm going to
Monday, Jordan, and your show is Friday.
I just booked it yesterday.
Well, get the band. Come on, you can't waste time.
No, there's nothing to waste because this is a show. I did it for 5 months.
But you have to book the musician.
Oh yeah. I got it.
You got it covered.
Got that. I got that.
All right.
But yeah, so Friday at 2:30 and Sunday at noon.
Mm-hmm.
Fremont Street Experience. It's a free show. It's a 3-time Broadway World nominated show.
Good for you.
And it's gonna be fun. It's all Nat King Cole music.
Good for you.
But it's not like it's not like
unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
That's what you are.
That's what you are.
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable. We're gonna have to start paying for the song soon.
We should do that duet. I'll be Natalie. You be Nat.
Right? Maybe.
I need to change my makeup though. A little darker.
Oh my God! Well, if you're around, come on. Maybe we can come sit in.
Okay.
We'll do a song because I do.
Okay.
I think there's like 16 or 17 songs in the show.
Well, we'll have to work on that, Jordan.
Totally. Well, no, but they're all standards. You can call it. Well, we'll talk about it offline.
We'll talk. Can we talk?
We'll talk. Can we talk about that? Okay. So Joan Rivers is my favorite comedian in the world. Like, and I don't think that there's been anyone. There's a couple people I like because I do like comedy a lot. I like stand up a lot. And there's a couple people who I'm digging now, but like there's no one who's like totally been like Joan. I would follow. You see Joan. She used to perform once a week at this little divey club. Well, not a divey club.
The little club, you mean?
She used to work at a little club every single week in New York if she
New
was
York.
in town.
I thought you meant to Beverly Hills.
No.
Okay.
Every week. I think she started out the cutting room and then she moved over to the Laurie Beachman. And so any week that she
theater.
Exactly, on 42nd Street.
Yeah.
And any week that she was in town, it was always a Wednesday, and she would do it, and like all the money would go to God's Love We Deliver. And it was just what she did to keep her chops up and work and stuff. So I used to see her all the time. And I was devastated when she died. How did you become a Joan Rivers tribute artist?
I was sad too. Actually, one of my agents in Florida, Donna Kay, and I always like to pay tribute to her because she did change the direction of my life. I was doing a show at the Thunderbird Hotel with the guy that does Bobby Darin. And he had said to me, do comedy, Barbara. I went, what comedy? I don't know any jokes. He says, you could do it. You can do it. So she told me, she says, I'm going to send you out as a Joan Rivers. And I went, what are you talking about? My knees are knocking. I don't even hear her voice. And I did hear her voice. Can we talk? And as soon as I heard her voice, I said, okay, book me. No, it's true. I wanted to make sure because it was a meet and greet.
Totally.
And I know I look like her, and I don't try at all to do it. Just the way I was born, whatever, sort of. I wish I had her money. Right. But other than that, I was at a country club, at PGA, I think, in Florida. And I was scared stiff because I thought, what do I do? So I was on like a red carpet with a lot of other impersonators and said, who are you wearing? I loved it so much. It was so natural. I said, I got this. So then she started to book me, and I did a lot of corporates, and I got an act written. That's how it started.
That's exciting.
So, yeah, it's not just who are you wearing. I got material. I really have material.
How long is your Joan Rivers show?
Well, I can do like 30 good minutes.
Okay,
but if the audience is good, I can improv and go into the audience and kind of milk that.
Totally. 30 minutes is a long time for a stand-up routine.
It is. I just got a call. I got an email to do 45, and I started to get to shake because I said, I'll have to include my Barbra Streisand because they don't know I don't have 45 minutes as Joan. But the money was so good, I said, of course I'll be there. What? 45 minutes.
Totally.
Well, I'll worry about that. I got to tell you something funny. When I was doing this show in Florida, I get my segments mixed up because I couldn't remember what comes when. And when I first started, so I had everything backstage, and I would go after I did the show and go, I left that out. But this is what comedians do, because you don't know, you jump from segments to segments. And there was a guy in the audience, and I said, "What did you do when you were alive?" He was hysterical. I looked at his face and I thought, this is ridiculous. So he laughed, and I've kept that in my act forever. What did you do when you were alive? It just came out of my mouth. Because I'm not a writer, but I looked at his face, and it was Florida. I had to say something. They loved it, so I keep it in.
Well, how do you like the Florida audience versus because a lot of people, I've never really worked in Florida, and everyone tells me that Florida is a horrible place to work.
They're old. They're old.
Yeah, well.
If they may be listening, they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. And they pay good,
Yeah.
No, what is it's totally different than the Las Vegas audience.
Well, what I've always been told, I've never done it, but particularly Miami, that Miami's not a fun place to perform necessarily, similar to the way New Orleans, I've heard, isn't really a good fun place to perform, just because it's like the audience is not there. Like they're
Really?
Yeah, I've had more than one person tell me that.
I know, really?
Yeah. Just because there's so much to do, people are partying. It's like, okay,
on the street, because there's music on every corner.
Exactly.
There. I was there once. I filled in for a girlfriend of mine who had vertigo, and she sent me to New Orleans, and I was doing the Fireman's Ball or something really big. That was at the same time that Jane Mansfield had her head cut off. Do you remember then?
Well, I don't remember then.
It was Jane Mansfield,
I've read about it,
wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That was Jane Mansfield.
Yeah. Well, it was at that time, and
I saw. Do you know the car is in a museum? And
no.
I saw it.
No.
I went to. There's a museum in Hollywood called the Museum of Death.
What?
It's called the Museum of Death.
Oh.
And so they have all of this like memorabilia of like dead Hollywood stars. And then they also take you on a tour called the Hollywood Death Tour. And it's that's where Bela Lugosi died. That's where this person.
The cemetery, you mean?
That's where, well, no, like his last apartment.
Oh, really?
And then here, this, Marilyn Monroe lived here. And I kind of think either that woman totally got around, which I'm not necessarily sure she didn't.
I was there when Marilyn Monroe. I know with the house that she.
Well, here's my thing. There. I feel like every house is a house that Marilyn Monroe lived in. I feel like anytime you're in Hollywood with someone it's like, Marilyn Monroe lived. So either she really got around or people are really full of it.
But but that's L.A. Everything is stars.
Totally.
Except if you're an unemployed actor, you don't really care where they lived. You just want the next job.
Exactly.
But for other people, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. But my point was, the big centerpiece of this Hollywood Museum of Death is the car that Jane Mansfield died in. And it's still like the roof is still
oh my God.
Like peeled up like a can. It's horrible. It's really, really gruesome.
I never saw that. But anyway, I don't usually do stuff like that. I'll do that in Europe if I'd like to see the hot spots in Europe, but not that. But when I was playing New Orleans for my girlfriend, I know I was like Bourbon Street, I think, if that's the big street. Yeah. There was like music on every corner, and I thought, this is so much fun. I loved it.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. But no, I mean, like as a performer, I'm told that it's not a fun place. Like it's like there's no room that's like really a listening room, and you know what I mean. Like you're kind of like competing with just everything.
Oh. Would that be like Branson? Because I've never been there either.
I've never been to Branson. I understand that Branson is weird. So there's this woman who I met who actually opened for us at the Tuscany. Krista. Oh my goodness, what is Krista's like? Krista Meadows. And she came to Vegas from Branson, where she was there for a very long time. And she said it's very, very much like Vegas in terms that, like people are looking for shows and people go to shows, but it's like a very conservative town, a very Christian town. And so like every show ends with like either a hymn or like a God Bless America. So it's a very unique audience.
I'm not going to be able to work there.
Right? But you know who does? Because we were talking about it and I started going through like, let me check out this Yakov Smirnoff.
Oh.
I didn't even realize that he was still a thing.
Oh yeah.
But he's like there, and
he works in Florida too a lot. Well, because he's Israeli, and that's very funny.
But who's still like I remember when he had like his moments, and he was like doing like Coca-Cola commercials and stuff.
Or Ed Sullivan or something.
No. This is post Ed Sullivan.
Really?
Yes. No, this is post Ed Sullivan.
But he was a funny guy.
But he had like a talk show. I mean, he had a sitcom for a minute. I just remember like in the mid '80s, he was kind of like everywhere because know it was all the whole Cold War.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize
he had a theater in Branson.
He has a theater in Branson. He's been playing there for like 35 years. Oh. And I just wonder, I'm kind of curious, like if his act has changed only because.
Oh, I would hope so.
You know, because
I talk about Russia now.
I just remember. Well, the thing is, I just remember, and again, like I was like a kid when he was like at his height, but I just remember it just being the one joke in Russia we do. Yeah. And so I just wonder what his act is now, but he's still around.
Don't get me started on Russia, please, or the Ukraine. Oh, because I did this with this one of lines when I'm doing Joan.
Yeah,
and I did it at the Italian American Club a few months ago. I said, I'm on a dating site. You know what? Because to meet a guy, I said, but I found the best dating site, quidproquo.com. Everybody was hysterical. I finally wrote something funny. I said, but all the guys at Ukraine, President Zelensky answered. I wasn't interested. Everybody said, who the hell is President Zelensky? I said, he's the president. You nut. Well, quid pro quo worked. And now you can't even say that anymore because it's the Mueller report. Right. What?
Oh my God! Wait, so that was a couple months ago. So what were you doing in LA?
3 shows. I did 3 shows in the Valley, and I go back from time to time to work, and I'm just singing. Occasionally, I do a little comedy, and I feel the temperature of the room. If I feel they can understand what I'm saying, then I'll do a couple of comedy lines. But I basically do my tribute to Broadway, which includes tribute to Barbra Streisand.
Okay.
And because they all get that and they like that.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't like Barbra Streisand?
Right. Well,
and who doesn't like Broadway?
Well, a lot of people want to hear, the 50s and 60s. I don't do that.
Yeah. I definitely find that here in this town too. Like it's so interesting, coming from New York.
Yeah.
Where like everything is kind of like show tunes, even if it's either it might be contemporary show tunes, but everything is very much like Great American Songbook and Broadway based. Right. And then getting here, everything is kind of like wedding bandish. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of 70s, a lot of 60s, a lot of
because they like to
80s,
dance. So talk about in the Tuscany because they like to
dance.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
And it's very important to do those contemporary songs.
Totally. But it's just in general, it's just really interesting how it's like either like like 80s wedding music or the Rat Pack.
Well, when you're doing lounge work, you need to cover every genre.
Totally.
And it doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, that's not where I was brought up because I have an act. I was like Shirley Bassey. Everything I have written was probably audience doesn't even know who Shirley Bassey is. Goldfinger! Stuff like well, in case you don't know, and I probably put the earplugs in your ear.
What'd you say?
Yeah. I had all this stuff written and my big act for 15 pieces. That's orchestrations for 15 men. For the word pieces, you probably don't understand. I have to be literate. And I have it. I have all that music. Yeah. It's yellow and crinkled, but I didn't get rid of it because I'm hoping someday I'll have a big orchestra again.
It's tough. I did actually my first orchestra show was it this past year? In August in Chicago. I was like, I want to do an orchestra show that's like my show, not just me coming in and doing like a couple of pieces with like an orchestra. And so I commissioned it. I commissioned all the arrangements. It was all Gershwin.
Oh, I love it.
And I think I had 11 or 12 pieces, and it was marvelous.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
There's nothing better than like having this wall of music behind you.
I know.
At all.
I miss it because now mostly if I sit in, they're trios, but the trios are magnificent because they know any tune in any key that you call, which is something you can't get in Florida. So it works here. Totally. It works here. I have to tell you that a couple of years ago, the Foundation for Seniors in Anthem, my friend Nicole DeFell asked me to sing. Me and Tasha Como, wonderful. We sang with a 60-piece orchestra.
A 60-piece orchestra?
And it was University of Las Vegas. Yeah, it was like, you talk about being nervous. 60 pieces. I sang, now it's I'm forgetting the song. But I was in heaven.
Yeah.
It was just exciting.
I used to be a member of this vocal ensemble, and we were the vocal ensemble for the New York Pops. So anytime there was some kind of a vocal concert, or there was a headliner who wanted an ensemble behind them, we would. Oh my God, there's nothing better than that.
No,
just all those musicians.
I would like. Did you like harmonize with like what's that begins with P? Yeah, right. Not perfecta. There's one girl and 4 guys. Pentatonics.
Oh, the pentatonics.
I love them.
Aren't they wonderful?
They're wonderful. I'd love to do something like that.
I've never seen them live either.
Oh, gosh.
Do they come to Vegas?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sure,
they seem like
they're
they'd be
wonderful.
perfect for it.
Yeah.
But speaking of big I'm shocked. I mean, like, I know it's expensive, but I'm shocked there hasn't more recently, and maybe there has been and I just wasn't in town, been a hotel that tried doing like an actual band in their lounge.
Oh, they did? In the lounge? No, well, the last time I saw Bob Anderson, who was incredible at the Venetian or the Palazzo, he had a 32-piece orchestra, and he does Sinatra, you know?
Yeah.
You can't support that.
Yeah, but
32 pieces. You cannot do
not
it.
32 pieces.
Well, that's
but
it. And I also, the Ray Charles, with Clint is out right now in the in the Ray Charles show, had also a 32-piece orchestra. You can't. Nobody will support that.
You can't support that. What I mean is, I think it would be interesting if some of the lounges did more than just like dueling pianos and like the.
Well, if you can find a lounge, call me. No, I'm serious, because the corporates have practically closed all of the lounges, other than the one I've seen at the Mandalay Bay, which is Serena Henry, who I adore.
Oh, is that the Hazel
Yes,
or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's no lounges anymore.
Well, what do you have? You have the
except
Piazza,
for
the
Kelly.
Tuscany.
That's true, but that's not a lounge.
You have the you have Hazel at the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
You have
very few.
I guess so, because any of the other lounges, they just either do like they just do like I was just over here at the Sahara, and they had
they have a new one now.
They have the Casbah is there.
Well, they opened
what about
that again, though.
A piano bar? What about the place where Big Elvis plays? Do they have music? They have music.
No, they have dueling pianos.
Oh, they just have
and
dueling
karaoke.
Pianos. What about the Wynn?
That doesn't cut it.
No, karaoke does not cut it. What about the Wynn? Do they do live music at the Wynn?
At the Wynn?
In one of the lounges?
They did at the Encore. My friend Michael Monge was there, and then they closed it and made it like a gaming room, I think, or something.
Oh, really?
This is what's happening here.
That's horrible.
There's no place for us, Jordan.
That's horrible.
Oh, somebody take us in and give us a lounge.
I think we should just walk into a casino and
That's
just
right.
plop down and just start singing.
This is it. This is us. This is us. Wait, isn't that a television show? This is us. They're going to put us away, Jordan.
I think we should. And in fact, then we can take it and just keep working it down the strip.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We just plop down. It's
Bellagio's
like the show starts.
Nice. There's a new one called the Mayfair. I haven't been there.
I haven't been there either.
Club,
but I think that, and I think it's kind of, because I've gone to a couple of things like that in New York. I think it's kind of like an experience, like where it's a little like burlesque.
I heard it's like $150 for a steak.
Yeah.
I will not be going to the Mayfair unless I get a sugar daddy. Are you
offering?
offering?
How big is the cast, though? I wonder how big the cast is.
I don't know. I only know Patrick Hogan, this great piano player, is playing in there. I don't know if he's playing for a show or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Westgate
I want to go in.
They have music.
Westgate's
the Westgate.
That's nice.
Sorry, it's just like popping into
It's
my head
wonderful.
as we talk.
That's a good. It's a small room in the casino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's not really a lounge though. The Shimmer is a lounge where Jennifer Sexy does, and
But I think that's a small showroom, isn't it? I thought the Shimmer's a showroom.
It is. I like it.
Yeah.
Because Barry's in the big room.
Yeah.
So if any of you rich people are out there and you want to sponsor us, we want a place to work.
This is us.
This is us. Well, what's that show that wonderful song? This is me, or whatever that song that we're talking about.
Me.
Yeah, it comes from Showman or
This Is
I
Me.
love that movie with Jackman.
Oh, do you
Hugh
know?
Jackman.
I didn't watch that.
Oh
show.
God, some of the music is great.
I've heard some. One of the shows. One of the songs was done in the show I did at the Tuscany. But I've never seen that movie. I don't know why. I had no interest in seeing that movie.
It was really good. The second time I saw it, I loved it. The first time I fell asleep. Well, it was just one of those times in the theater. But then when I saw it on HBO, I went, "This is really a good movie." And Hugh Jackman was great. And the cast was wonderful.
Yeah. I actually just saw a couple of really good movies. I've been on a run. So I saw, did you see Hustlers with the Jennifer Lopez?
No, I didn't
That
get a
was
chance yet.
fantastic.
Really?
It's based on a true story. So I've been obsessed with reading the source material.
Did she give good polls?
She gives great polls.
We're terrible, Jordan.
That was good. And then I saw The Kitchen, which apparently didn't
saw
do
that
well.
with Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I thought that was so great.
I liked it.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that I just saw that is sort of like The Kitchen in the sense that it's women and it's a thriller, and now it totally fell out of my head.
Not Bombshell.
No, not Bombshell.
Because that's
Bombshell
too new.
good? Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The real stuff is, when you see these rotten men and what they get away with, and then they die, it's like karma. Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And you can't take advantage. The not guilty was the rape in the first degree, which I don't get at all.
Right. And then also, what was the other? There was another charge that he was found not guilty of.
Well,
pursuing. It was
Yeah,
it was
right.
It's a word again with the P words.
But he's coming up in New York. He's also got charges in New York.
No, he's in New York. He has charges coming up in Los
Well,
Angeles.
maybe it's L.A. then.
It's L.A. He's going to be
do
charging.
you know that they've known about him for years?
Durr.
Yeah, I was like, really? Because that's not the circle I travel in. And my friends who are the president of the editor of the Hollywood Report, Barbara, we've known about Weinstein forever. Really? Where have I been?
Clearly not in a Miramax film.
No. Well, I don't believe. I was propositioned once. I said no.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
sure.
I'm getting the look that we have to
Is it
bring
time
up,
to go?
But I want to hold on to that. That was like the perfect cliffhanger.
What?
Next time you come back, we want to hear about the time you were propositioned.
Oh, okay.
Do you have anything coming up that you want to share?
I have
with
a couple of private shows. Yeah, I'm doing a show for Army Guzman on Wednesday, and I have a corporate show in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
Doing Joan.
Perfect.
And I'm out there.
Cool. And then this Friday and Sunday, I'm going to be at the Taste of Soul and Sounds
Good
Festival
for you.
doing my show
Let's
celebrating
come on
Nat
down
King
and support
Cole.
you.
Yeah. Friday
Yeah.
at 2:30, Sunday at noon, right down at the Fremont Street Experience.
Can we mention my website?
Oh my God, of course.
Okay.
Mention your website. Mention your everything.
BarbaraBrighton.com.
Awesome. And visit us.
And Brighten Your Night, NITE, on YouTube.
Okay, wonderful. And visit us on Facebook, Showtime with Jordan. Thank you so much. Thank you, Barbara.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Sean.
Thank you. This was so fast.
I know.
I thought it was going to be like 14 hours.
I know, right?
It was like fast.
It was so fast, which means we have to come back, and I want to hear all about
right.
how you were propositioned.
Bye for now.
Bye. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Are you off the air?